Peace, peace, family. We are back again. And today we'll be building on how money is not your God. I will repeat that. Money is not your God, right? However, when you live in America and when you get indoctrinated into the American system, money becomes your God. And when money becomes your God, you become a devil. You feel me? I know somebody out there need to hear this message. And that boy Vic, I'm here to deliver it today, right? Somebody need to hear this message. I'll say it again. When money becomes your God, you become a devil, right? I'm a nigga that trapped. I'm a nigga that trapped, right? For the money, for the clothes, for fly gear, right? To rock golds, to ride foes, you know what I'm saying? What we was on. What we was on when I was out there, you know what I'm saying? And it was the money that pushed me and my dogs all into that. It was the money that made us want to get fly and buy fashion, European fashion, brands, right? Expensive brands that niggas couldn't afford. It was the money. And we would do whatever we had to do to get it. Some niggas robbed for some money. Some niggas stole. Same thing, right? It's a little different. However, some niggas hit licks, did things that they wouldn't have did if they had access to the money, right? Some niggas became drug dealers. Some niggas killed in the midst of trying to hit licks, right? All to get some money. All to get some money, right? So money became our God. And when we live in America, which we do live in America, this is a capitalist society. When you look at the dollar says, in God we trust. But it's nothing godly about that money, right? It's nothing godly about that money. Because in a capitalist society, in the word capitalism is the word capital, right? This is a hierarchy system, and somebody has to be at the bottom. And the people at the bottom have less resources and less access to money. And when you have less access to money, but you live in a capitalist society, you begin to make money your God, especially the youth, right? When you look at Black American youth, right, you see that they are under a spell. They are living under a dark spell. Elijah Muhammad said, from the darkness to the light, right? The Walking Dead. For years, I spent many years of my life participating in the Walking Dead, right? Until I woke up and got the knowledge, right? For many years, I was just out there, high all the time, getting blitzed, right? Wilding. I didn't know. I didn't know myself. I didn't know my true self. I didn't know that it was something more to this, right? Like Sincere and Belly, right? For a minute, he didn't know, and then when he got the knowledge, he knew, right? And when you get the knowledge, you realize that, yo, money actually is not God, right? What's godly is having intrinsic motivations, right? Having good conversations, right? Having a good circle of friends, you know, being able to reach out to family and holler at them, right? Looking in your kids' eyes, being around your kids while they grow, watching them grow up, right? I got a lot of partners who locked up. I got a lot of partners who dead, right? And they'll never get to see that because many of us were trapped in this capitalist society hierarchy system, and we was at the bottom. And when you at the bottom, money becomes your God, right? You begin to do things to get the money that you wouldn't have did if you were at the top, right? And I'm not making no excuses. However, we are in a system where competition is always around you. And so is another C word, and that C word is consumerism, right? Branding, marketing, right? Billboards all around you. My daughter's 3, and when she watches TV, right? The commercials is already all around her trying to sell her stuff, right? Daddy, daddy, I want that. Daddy, daddy, I want this. And it's funny because I remember when I was a kid, I was on the same type of time. Hey, mom, can I get this? Hey, mom, can I get that? Right? And the thing about when you're trying to buy a lot of shit, you could never get on top of it. Right? It never ends. Right? So I'm a nigga that was fly for. I'm a nigga that been fly since I was a kid. Right? I had my times where I wasn't as fly as I could have been, but I was always a fly nigga. Right? And I tell you something, I spent a lot of money on things that was in style, and then they went out of style. And to stay in style, I kept buying, and I had to buy more. I probably bought over 60 Yankees hats in my life. Right? I bought every Jordan at one time, all the retros. I had it all. I got Mason Margiela. I got Balenciaga. I got all that. I was a kid in the throwback jersey era, and I had throwback jerseys as a kid. And then it came back, and I'm still copping throwback jerseys. I had polo. I been had polo. I been rocking low. That ain't new. You feel me? Been putting parts in my head. Been rocking gold chains. Been rocking slugs. Been did all that. Been had the car folds. Been had the Beamer. Been had phones. Been had 2 cars. Been had the baddies. Niggas who know me know. So I get it. I had a taste of it. I might have didn't have it on the highest level, but I had enough of it to realize that it's all the same. Right? It's all the same, but it's the trick knowledge of the comparison game. That's the thief of joy, right? I give you an example, right? Where could I go with this, right? A car is a car, and I know it sounds cliche, right? But as a nigga that had an old school and a nigga that had a foreign, I could tell you that a car is a car. Now, one car provides a smoother ride. That's a luxury. However, you get in there. That's all that matters. Right? Whether you ride first class or whether you ride coach, you get in there. That's what it's about. Right? A purse is a purse. One may have this type of leather, and that's the reason why they got this brand attached to it. The Louis Vuitton, you can go for this much, and the Target brand go for this much. However, it's just a purse. You understand? What I'm saying is a hard concept to grasp. Yeah, I understand. I like being fly myself, but when you grasp this concept of a perspective, you realize that life is all perspective, right? And you will realize that in the words of the great J. Cole, love yours, right? When you focus on other people, you get to comparing. And we live in a social media, digital age where everybody's comparing. Like the film Everywhere, Everywhere, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, right? Part itself. Now, in that film, the wife couldn't be happy with her own life because she was so focused on everybody else's life. So focused, so caught up in the digital age, looking at this, what could have been, what I could have had. Yo, right now, you need to focus on what you got. Right? And that's not to say you can't want more. It's okay to want more. But you have to understand that you're never going to be happy until you appreciate what you do have. Right? In our community, money is God. And that's why you see so many of these young boys out here robbing, killing, dealing, stealing, all that for the money. They want to get the baddies. The baddies like young niggas, fly niggas with money. If the baddies like niggas who read books and all that, niggas would be copping books. Niggas would be copping books. But the baddies ain't on that. A lot of them, some of them is. But most of the ones y'all looking at them IG models and all that, they looking at fly niggas. And niggas want them baddies. Most niggas only want to rap to get access to the baddies and access to the money and access to the glitz and glamour that come with it. Let's keep it a bean. Niggas do not care about this game that we love. They just want the money. I ain't mad at them. So that's how the game has been controlled, right? The dumbed down rappers that are in it for the money, right? The labels can, sign 1,000,000 of them niggas. Sign 1,000,000 of them niggas. It's always gonna be another one that'll come and buck dance for the money, right? It'll always be one. And that's why money can't be your God. Because if money is your God, it'll make you sell your people out. See, in the black community, we used to have some unity. It was a long, long time ago, right? But when that when that heroin hit, because heroin was big, and then it went into the crack era, it was like a double blow, right? A double blow. And then the gang era came, so it was, it was a bad thing. It was a bad combo. But that was, even though they put that there for us, they preyed on our lust for money. See, if we was a righteous people, we would have never touched that dope. Right? If we were still a righteous people, we would have never touched that dope to sell it to each other. Right? If we had love for each other, we would never touch that dope to sell it to each other. Right? But we needed money in that capitalistic society. And we was preyed on. But we was only preyed on because it was a flaw that we had. Right? We didn't want the money to do nothing righteous with it. We just wanted to stun on niggas. And it's like in the Snowfall, you Franklin believed that he was actually a good person doing well for the hood. When really it was him killing the hood so he can get to the top. Right? That's what that bred. Right? Money is not your God. Although you think it is, and when money controls you, it forces you to make devilish decisions, right? Money is not your God. Sometimes, you will go to an impoverished country and you will feel bad for them as an American, right? And they looking at you like, yo, what's up? Well, ain't nothing wrong. We good. We good. We got everything we need, And that's why you got to get closer to the kid. That's why they say you got to get back childlike. You got to get back childlike. As you become conscious, you got to get back childlike, right? Because the child is not moved by the money, right? The child is not moved by the money. However, the system and the billboards and the commercials and is trying to turn them into little consumers, right? Little consumers. It's trying to turn them into that. But at their root, at their nature, right? They don't care about that type of stuff. You could take your 3-year-old to Dollar General and let them go crazy with the toys. They don't know no different. You can let them, hey yo, get whatever you want off the menu. Right? It's not later on until Benny Hunters, right? Five-star restaurants. That stuff is nice. I'm a nigga that like 5-star restaurants. I like Australian wine, right? I'm into all that. However, I don't let it rule over me like it used to. Money is no longer my God, right? I had a rapper tell me one time, right? I'm on Twitter. I got 30,000 followers on Twitter. I've been shadow banned for years on Twitter, and I'm shadow banned on YouTube now. I believe, right? Because my message is dangerous because it's to awake a certain group of people who, you know, many people don't want them to be awoke because when your slaves are awoke, right? When the slaves are awakened, it's hard to it's hard to prey on them, right? So rappers like me that actually teach the people through the music and through YouTube and through Twitter is more of a threat than that gangster rapper who just, hey yo, I blast, get the cash, run up in you know what I'm saying, with the stash, the flash. You feel me? It's more dangerous. A conscious MC is more dangerous. You see Kanye dropped that song, right? And then it never got, like, it didn't even hit the DSPs. It didn't even hit YouTube. It was blocked altogether, right? But those same labels put out 21 Savage. My chopper, I call my chopper the KKK because it like to kill niggas. And niggas got paid off that. So what Kanye did, whether you like him or not, I disagree with a lot of things Kanye did. But however, what he did was he he, he pulled their card. The hypocrisy. The hypocrisy. See, you could stop. They could stop this if they want, but it's too much money for them. See, see how it causes everybody to get into their devil bag. Money, the capitalist society. I am pro-capitalist to a degree, but I'm not hyper-capitalist, right? I'm not hyper-capitalist. When you look in America, the people at the bottom who are poor get the worst education, right? They live in crime-riddled communities. They get the poor. Uh, they when it's time for AAU, they gotta sit on the road and beg for money, right? They gotta fundraise. They gotta do fish fries when kids die. They gotta do GoFundMe drives, all that, right? And people move into those communities, you know, and build funeral homes and prey on it and prey on the young kids, the young brothers that slaughter each other every day. That's devilish. But that's what this system does to you. That's what this system does to you. And I'll tell you another thing before we slide up out of here is in the digital age, did you hear what I said earlier? Did you hear how I flexed that earlier? I said I got 30,000 followers on Twitter, right? What does that really mean, right? Does that make me more important? No, it doesn't. But it's a fake value system. It's a fake value system, right? So, in in the digital age, the social media age, numbers are doing the trick knowledge again. They at work again to push the trick knowledge, right? I got I got 30,000 subscribers. Yo, I'm hotter than you. And then people see that and say, oh yeah, he must got the answers, right? But if you had 10 subscribers, now I ain't rocking with that. But see, they control that. They control that. You know, the Facebook Whisper told us that. Yo, they control that algorithm. They make what they want to be hot, and they slow it down if you teaching a little too much, right? So that's controlled. But people, you know, they look for clout. They want to get a viral moment. So it brings out the worst in them. The devil in them to go viral. I'm gonna say some crazy stuff. I'm gonna say some racist. I'm gonna say some sexist stuff that get a reaction. Rappers begin to do this to get a reaction, to go viral. The digital currency age, social media. right? Social media followers. Spotify pays artists the least, but they have a monthly listener count that changes by the day, right? That changes by the day, and many artists they will buy a fake system, right? I seen it. My man showed me where he even asked me, "Hey, yo, Vic, you want me to pump your shit up?" This, I said, "What, God?" I was offended. Like, nah, bro, I don't do that. I don't do that. If niggas is judging me by those numbers, it is what it is. They not for me. You feel me? That's how I get down this time, cause I'm spiritually, uh, I'm spiritually in a good place where I don't feel like I'm spiritually secure. Right? I'm secure. I'm not embarrassed. I'm not ashamed. When you go on, I say, "Hey, yo, check me out, bro. I made music," and then you go on my Spotify and say, "Yo, you only got 300 monthly listeners, 280 monthly listeners. What's up with that?" I say, "Yeah, I mean, it's the system, God. What you want me to say? You know what I'm saying? I did my part. I gave niggas quality. If niggas don't want to come get the vegan food because they want the goddamn Popeye's chicken, shit, so be it. But I did my part. Sometimes less is more. Sometimes less is more, in the words of Jay-Z. So it is what it is, and I can live with that as long as I can sleep at night knowing that I ain't jump around like no goddamn buffoon and to do no to get some numbers. You know what I'm saying? To get some numbers that don't really mean nothing, right? I'm good with that. I'm at peace. I'm at peace. Before I slide, I want to touch on the Diddy case briefly. Briefly, right? Now, I want you to know that what Diddy did to Cassie was foul because he caught her when she was young. When she was young, he caught her when she was young, right? And he preyed on her. He preyed on her like R. Kelly did. I think she was legal age, so I don't want to put that on Diddy. However, she was preyed on with a young mind, and a young mind. Remember, in the black community, celebrities is gods, especially in our community. Celebrities is the gods. And when she ran into Diddy and she seen, yo, this thing got the power, he got the money, and he could buy me anything. She fell into that trap. She fell into that trap. And it's easy to fall into that trap when celebrities are worshipped. And celebrities only are worshipped in our community, not for the talent, but for the money. For the money and fame. Right? We don't care about talent no more in this community. We care about, hey, yo, that nigga get money though, bro. Yeah, he got that bag though. We say, hey, that nigga whack, bro. That nigga, when you say, yeah, hey, but he got more money than you though. So the money rules, right? Money rules, and the more dumber you go, the more richer you get. The game changed. The whacker the rapper, the more fame. I know that sound familiar to niggas who rock with me. You know what I'm saying? But so to wrap this up again, you know, Diddy preyed on Cassie with his money, but Cassie has something that many of us do have in us, and that's that we put people with a lot of money and a lot of fame on a pedestal, right? Because money becomes our God, and when we see people with money, you know, it makes us think that they are more valuable, they're more important than us, and all this. And it's easy to get caught up in that trap, and they know that, and they prey on you. No different from uh rent a center putting a location in the middle of the projects, right? They know you got intentions to pay. They know you mean well, but they know you ain't gonna pay. So they gonna hit you with high interest rates and tear that ass up, right? So, but it's your own lust, right? Don't never make a deal with the devil, right? Never make a deal with the devil. The stuff that Diddy exposed Cassie to was dark, right? It's dark. When we look at Stanley Kubrick and we look at eyes wide shut, we got a glimpse of it, right? But this is, as this case unfolds, you're gonna see darker and darker stuff come out. And this in Black Hollywood. Black Hollywood is just as wild as white Hollywood, right? The Epstein case, that has, Trump in it. Trump is mentioned in the Epstein case. Epstein said they was best friends for 10 years. That's not my opinion. That's what Epstein said. You know. Now, that case you may never get to see because it deals with bigger players, right? Bigger players. See, Diddy is the man, but Diddy Rudy Poo compared to them other niggas, them white boys, them presidents and them politicians, and that's all wrapped up in, and some of them wrapped up in the Diddy stuff too. Don't get that twisted. However, you know what I'm saying? They giving y'all this, and they saying y'all be satisfied with this because y'all never get that Epstein shit. So this the closest you gonna get. And will they get Diddy? I don't feel like they got a strong case on Diddy outside of domestic violence. The video of him beating up Cassie was about 9 years old. How long they held on to that video? Who held that video for 9 years and then finally dropped it when the case dropped? That's another question. It's funny stuff going on, right? This shit is big. This shit is bigger than, like Nino said, this shit bigger than Nino. This shit bigger than Diddy. You know? When you seeing this though, you seeing sex rituals, right? That was in Stanley Kubrick's again, Eyes Wide Shut, and then he was exposing the industry, and then the legend died before the film even came out. He didn't get to watch it, and many had conspiracies about that, right? Because it's always been a dark element to Hollywood, and y'all want to get in it so bad. Y'all want to, nigga rapping and he ain't got no money. You don't like him. Nigga get a deal. Oh yeah, girl, that nigga fine. Damn, just like that, just that fast. Tupac said that too. Tupac said they ain't even want me last week. Mike Jones said, back then they didn't want me. Now hot they all on me. NBA player Zion was in the DMs of Myra Mills for many years, I'm sure. And then when she found out who he was, boom. Right? Travis Hunter girl said, I ain't know who he was till my brother told me. Once my brother told me it was on. So that money, what that money make a bitch do? Man, and women don't realize the damage it do to niggas' heads when y'all won't rock with us until y'all see that niggas got a car, nigga got a money, nigga got chain. See, women is under a dark spell too in America because they want to be taken care of so bad that they make deals with the devil also, right? You got that rich man and he exposing you to darkness, and it's dark. Right from wrong. We all born with I'm a pro woman. So I don't see the woman as less. I think the woman is just as intelligent as the man. I got a daughter. I think women is smarter than men, to be honest. And I ain't making no excuses for men. But I just think women is just logically smarter. Men are more physically, stronger in most cases. But women the ones that go through painful cycles monthly. Women the ones that give birth. You know what I'm saying? So women is tough. Women is tough, but women is more emotional. It's a patriarchal society. So I've had female friends who said conservative things like traditional conservative things like when Kamala was running for president, because as you know, I did rock with Kamala, they would say things like, I don't think a woman could run the country because women are too emotional. See, that's a brainwashing that comes from a man, a patriarchal man, because here's the thing. Men are much more emotional than women, if we're being honest. Women are more logical. Men are more emotional. If you step on a nigga shoe, nigga might shoot you. Stay out a nigga too long, nigga may shoot you. Nigga fall in love with a chick, she break up with him, he may, domestic violence is crazy. Domestic violence is crazy. That's emotional. So what men talking about? You get what I'm saying? In that video, we see Diddy beating up Cassie. That's emotional. That's emotional. So, you know, I know Cassie did want to leave, but she was also a victim of the same thing that most of us are victims of in the capitalist society, and that's uh putting people with money and fame on the pedestal, right? And money is not your God. And when money becomes your God, you begin to let devils in. You begin to let devils in. And that's something we don't want to do. On no family, we are 30 minutes in. And just like that, we out, family. Peace.